morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome. Grab your cup. Let's get settled in and let's talk about connecting to source, okay? And really, what does that mean? How can you strengthen that connection? And how can you understand and really know that you have that connection? So let's take a sip. We are told to connect to source, and what does that mean? And some people may not have a full understanding of like, how can you do that? How can you go about that? So source is that higher power, right? Source is the energy from which we all come from. So we're all connected, right? We are all connected as one. Source is that power, that one power from which we all derive. And so we are still connected to source. So when we realize that and when we are in alignment with that, we actually really are that all-knowing higher self. We're easier to tap into that higher self, that all-knowing self that is there. So it will separate from the ego mind, the fear mind, the worry mind, the mind that feels insecure, afraid to take chances, the mind that has trauma, and really goes to that place of peace, that place of love, that place of pure energy. So connecting to source is really connecting to remembering from where we began, remembering from where we come. And so whatever label we want to put on that. So a lot of people will have different names for what source is. And for you, just use a name that you feel connected to, that feels in vibration for you. So whatever that is for you. But when we connect to source, we kind of go ahead and recharge, okay? Recharge. And that's what we want to do. Yes, Brooke, it is hard to take chances because that fear can step in, of course. But when we connect to source, we can find out if that step or if that choice is in alignment and if it's good and if we feel powerful to take it and if it feels right to take it. So source will not lead us astray, correct? Because it is that all-knowing place. So when we connect and we feel that love of source and we feel that connection from source, that will help guide us. But a lot of times we get distracted. We really allow that our own self, our own monkey mind, our own little ego, our own fear-based self to really step in. So ways that we can connect to higher self is really to move away the clutter that you're creating around things being perfect or things being right or needing to see this sign if it's really there. And I feel like when we can just begin to trust and know that higher self, that source is there with us, guiding us, you'll feel that love, you'll feel that connection, okay? So as we begin, all right, as we begin, it is really getting into that breath work. Your breath work is so important to that connection, all right? So allowing yourself those nice, long, deep, beautiful breaths that allow you to be in alignment. Imagine it going all through your entire physical body, but out through that crown, really going out through the crown, through the bottom. As we start to use that breath work and as we start to feel the flow within us, okay, we can become more connected. We can absolutely plug in to source. And when you do, source will give you that path. They may show you a picture or you may get a feeling. It may come in the form of a dream for you. Allowing yourself to meditate. A lot of times we get lost in the idea of meditation because we're overthinking it. But just having those gentle nudges, those gentle thoughts, that's really where we want that meditation to be. Not overthinking, am I doing it right? Is it correct? All of that, right? When we connect to source, we begin to see how Source speaks to us and how Source talks to us and how Source guides us. We can do that with one another as well, just finding that path of love, because Source is all loving. Source is all about love. There's no jealousy, anger, hatred with Source. It is nothing but love, and it's remembering your light within, your powerful light. But moreover, either you do it to yourself, or perhaps there's other people around you that will attempt to dim that light, right? Sometimes it seems to be this kind of natural behavior. I'm not really sure why, but sometimes we're just afraid to acknowledge our own power and our own joy and what we are able to manifest. So when you can begin to remember who you are deep inside, who you are on that soul spectrum, on that deep soul spectrum, when you remember who you are, that links you back to Source. That brings you home. And when we're home, then we begin to feel warm, we begin to feel safe, we begin to feel nurtured, we begin to feel aligned, and we can absolutely then manifest what it is we desire, manifest that path that we are meant to take. So it's moving all the muck aside, moving all that muck, all that, putting that aside, and getting into Source. So a lot of times too is without putting pressure on, what does Source look like? What does Source say? What does Source, just allow Source to come in as an energy. What does that energy feel like? It was that guidingness, that guiding light. And within that light, you see your light. How many times have you come across someone where you just meshed? It just was a perfect kind of combination. Somehow you just got one another without words, without a whole lot of anything. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs just seem to be in alignment, right? That's a lot how Source is. When we're absolutely connected to Source, there's a rhythm that happens, there's a flow that happens, and it's a natural flow, and it's an easy flow, and it's one in which we begin to move with Source and feeling loved by Source. Once you connect to Source and you understand what that feels like within you, you won't be lonely. You will feel forever loved. You will feel forever nurtured because you are. And what's most interesting is part of that is you yourself doing it, because you are part of Source. Okay? You are part of Source. So even when you see someone and you see someone hurting, or maybe they're having a bad day, or you can see tears, right? There's many times I could just tell someone's been crying, and maybe I'm just out to eat and you can tell there's something just send that love to them, because they will end up feeling it, whether it's a consciousness or not. But because we are all connected, they will feel that love, they will feel that connection. So, although you may be fearful of taking chances or listening to Source or trusting Source, surrendering to Source, by doing so, by finding that way to have that ultimate trust and surrender, you then release yourself of the anxiety and the fear of making sure you're making the right decisions, because they will forever be laid out before you. You will forever be connected to it. And when you do feel out of alignment, we just get back in using that breath work, using that connection, understanding that flow, using your imagination as well. Okay, so just imagining that oneness with Source, that oneness connected, and that's going to help you as well. And yes, tonight, everyone, is Pet Psychic. If you have not gotten your ticket, grab your ticket and come join me for an evening of Pet Psychic and mediumship readings. I'm so excited to do this. We always have such a great time. You can have your pet, you can bring a photo of your pet. It's really very, very, very fun. It's very exciting. So please be sure to get your ticket and come and join me. And this is your coffee with Colby for today. And as always, everyone, remember to shine your light and shine it bright. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and I'll see many of you tonight. Bye, everyone.